everybody. It's Safi and Marco Dish out on the movies. Today we're doing a review of a new release. It's kind of a new old release, but anyway, it was a movie that was put on the shelf and not released to the public.
Well, it's weird because it says even though it came out this year in 2021, it says on IMDb it came out like 2019. And then it says on another website it came out in 2020. Like, I hate to break it to these people, but it did not come out until today. 2021, June 8th.
Right.
It did not come out until today. And it's a Shudder exclusive, unfortunately. It's really too bad we had to get another stupid app just to watch this one movie. And I went on there just to say something about Shudder. It's a terrible app. You go on there, it has categories like queer horror and like women horror. And it's like, if you're really like the type of person who says, oh, I want to watch a horror movie, but I will only watch a queer horror movie, then you're not a real horror fan and you need to get the hell out, because horror isn't about identity politics. It's about a horror. And so that's just ridiculous to have categories like that. Of course, every streaming place has that. It's just that this app is just really bad. It hardly has anything. A lot of stuff on it, you've already seen it before. And so it was really irritating to have to get that just to watch this movie. So yeah, what do you think, Safi? Do you agree with that stuff?
Yeah, I guess just because it's such a oddity, the movie itself is an oddity. I don't even know how they managed to get it and nobody else, but it's a George Romero directed movie, and if anybody does know or doesn't, George Romero is the same guy who directed Night of the Living Dead. I'm coming to get you, Barbara. You know, and he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
And his wife found this movie.
No, some guy did.
Oh.
That's not important, Safi, but it's just the gist of the story is that it was a lost movie, and then they found, they said badly faded prints of it, and then they restored it. Someone restored it.
I think that's nice, though.
It was very well done with its restoration.
Yes. It was.
And then they released it on Shudder. Ugh.
Well, to tell them what Marco has done more research on this. It was a very short movie. It was really just about less than an hour.
Yeah.
And Marco did a little research on the backstory behind it. Go ahead, Marco.
And it was still too long. Honestly, he could have just made this like a 25-minute short movie, since it really doesn't have any plot at all. If it had an actual plot, I would say it's way too short at being 53 minutes. But it's actually too long because it's well, okay. The story is that George Romero was like in his 30s, and the Lutheran Society of something, they asked him to make a movie about the struggles of old people. And then he made this movie, and then when he showed it to them, they were so horrified that they hid it and didn't show it to anybody. Which is pretty funny.
And they were horrified because... Why?
Because it was too scary. Because was he in the room with these religious weirdos while they're watching it, and they're like, ooh, ooh.
I don't know. I can't imagine it.
Did they wet their diapers?
I don't think they were. I doubt if they were even old themselves. I don't know. I don't know what it was supposed to be originally. Even, they said they wanted this movie to show the horrors of old age. Well, who are they planning on showing that to? People who are old and already knew that there are some pitfalls with getting older, but it's not a death sentence. It's just you adjust. So just not sure what the purpose of it was. And
It's like a PSA. It's like a after school special.
not really, but if it was an after-school special, it would
It would
have
have
more
been
of a
good.
story, and it
Yeah.
would have had actual dialogue.
It's like the Reefer Madness for old people, kinda.
I guess. I
Because
don't know.
it's very exaggerated. It sort of misconstrues things. Like I think like, well, I mean, let's just start off with the plot. The plot, there is really no plot. It's just an old guy at an amusement park walking around and encountering old people problems, which is really hilarious.
Well, it starts off is this man dressed in a white linen suit.
He looks
Which
like
why you? How many people have ever been to an amusement park and worn a white linen suit with cotton candy and malt and shakes and malts and ice cream and root beer floats and hot dogs and hamburgers and all kinds of junk beyond belief that you can get, deep fat fried Snickers bars or whatever. And why would you wear a linen suit like you're down south and you're walking through the orchard or something?
Oh, you just copied me, Safi.
Well, it's just ridiculous.
I was the one who said he looked like a plantation owner.
Well, I mean, he looks like he's just ready to walk down the flower-decked pathway into the garden or something, and you wouldn't. And so what happens is the guy walks into a white room. He's wearing a white linen suit.
It is a cool suit, and
he closes
it
the
looks
door,
cool.
and there's another guy who looks a lot like him, like it's maybe the same person, and he has wounds all over his face, and he's sitting, and there's all these other like card table chairs, folding chairs. He's all by himself, and he says, "Why don't you come outside? I'm going to go outside." And he says, "Oh, there's nothing out there," but he can hardly talk. He's struggling with his words. I'm just making it look easier, but he wasn't saying it like that. He was saying it like he was struggling. And so anyway, he says, "Go, come on, it's nice out there. It'll be fun." Stuff like that, And so he goes out, and you can hear the people. And it's really loud, and
it's scary.
Oh yeah,
it's really scary.
He closes the door, and they show up like a film of people at a carnival or like a state fair or a county fair, and it's packed. It's probably like in the early evening, and it's really busy and packed, and there's people everywhere. And what are they wearing? It's summertime, so they're wearing shorts.
That looks so
and
ugly.
T-shirts. They look like ugly Americans.
All the clothes just look so like. They look like paper. They look like paper outfits.
No, they weren't. They were things that people wear in the summer, but it was kind of weird. I mean, it was just like they were all almost like they were dressed alike. It was weird, but it's stuff that people wear in the summer. I mean, it's 90 degrees, and you're out walking along an amusement park. It's boiling hot, and you get a snow cone because you're boiling. We did this fair thing for many years because I had two sons in 4-H, and it was so we've been through this, and so I know what it's like.
The fair is kind of fun.
It is fun. There's lots of things to do. It's not just riding rides and what else?
Crappy games where they rip you off and you have to pay a lot of money to get stupid toys.
And it's just whatever. To me, it was always about eating.
The food.
Yeah, because you couldn't get the food anywhere else any time of the year, and this was the time to get it. And so that's what it was for me.
And the animals were fun, too.
Yeah, the animals were fun.
But anyways, it's just a long movie of what?
He trips, and he can't see, and he doesn't have enough money. Well, that's not going to get people to watch it or even not watch it.
That's what happens.
That's how he reacts when he's faced with anything. And he buys 3 or 4 stuffed paper bags of groceries. Now, you tell me, in anybody's right mind, would they buy 3 or 4 bags of groceries. I'm talking about loaded all the way to the top, where they have to walk somewhere. They have to walk home. And because it's like this in the urban areas. You have a little grocery store, and you gotta get stuff for dinner. And so, usually they have some kind of rolling cart or something, but they wouldn't be walking for. And here he is. He's looking at stuff. I mean, he's not going home. He's doing stuff. Why would you? And like he rode up bumper cars. And tell them about the bumper cars. Why would you buy these things when you know you have to do all this other? You wouldn't carry 4 loaded bags of groceries.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. They have it to where it's very exaggerated.
Yes,
like
very exaggerated.
Like they have to take an eye exam to drive bumper cars, and like people are gonna go to the fair and have an eye exam to ride bumper cars. That's just ridiculous.
Well, what was the other thing though? They asked them questions before they would let him do something.
They had this the roller coaster where it's like you can't get on if you have all these conditions, and all these old people are getting turned away. And that was one of the funniest parts. This movie was hilarious because it was I
don't know about that.
It was just so exaggerated and so fake, and so okay, it's Get Out for old people. They have this part where he gets on a roller coaster, and he's like, ah! It's like, what am I supposed to be scared of him on a roller coaster? Like, oh no, look, old people get scared on roller coasters and scream. Everyone screams on roller coasters.
You don't have to be old to scream on a damn roller coaster. And the people, they showed them in this, they'll have to have a show like a little group of people together, and they're not necessarily together, but they seat them together. They're like little clumps, little groups on the roller coasters, the way they're set up. And there were 2 people in front of them, and everybody on it was, almost everybody, I'd say 99%, they were older.
They had lots of fun. And
they were smiling and laughing, and they were having a great time. And I'm like, what's the problem? And I don't know what, I guess when he got off, there was a woman in front of him. She looked like she was 90. And I don't think I know too many 90-year-olds who want to even ride a roller coaster, or even would be there at the hottest part of the day. And, you can get a snow cone or something, or soda, or ice cream cone. Well, how long is it going to last you when the degrees it is outside is as old as you are?
No, you can go to a restaurant and you can buy a plate with chili that looks like canned dog food, with French fries and a plate of bread.
They were showing this food area, and they had a rich man, and he was older, but he had lots of money, and they were waiting on him.
He got to have lobster and champagne.
Yes, and then they were like folding his napkin for him, or tucking it into his shirt. And all these other people, they were sitting off to the side because they couldn't afford to have anything. And then this guy, all he could afford was to have, it looked like beefaroni. I don't know.
No, beefaroni looks good. This looks...
Well, it was a combination of that and something else, and it looked awful.
I went to a place today that has chili dogs and chili, and I purposefully did not get chili because the chili in this movie looks so effing gross.
Yeah.
But there's just so many things with this movie. It's hilarious.
I didn't think it was that funny. I just thought it was... It made me mad because I just thought it was so exaggerated.
Yeah.
And some people make dumb mistakes, okay? But not everybody makes dumb mistakes. And just because you get past a certain age doesn't mean you're automatically going to make mistakes and act stupid. There's people who make mistakes and act stupid of any age. I mean, that's just life. That's just it's just the way people are. And I just don't understand. The only reason I watched it is because it's George Romero, and he made Night of the Living Dead, and so this is like I've talked about this the last time. This is like a collection. You're looking at things that George Romero made, and you look at it as a compilation of his works. And so,
And this movie is better than several movies that he's made. Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead. I would say Creep Show. It's better than Creep Show, which I know that'll really piss people off, but the stories in Creep Show are just so like predictable, and they're not really interesting. They're just very, very simple and basic. And of course, Safi hasn't seen Creep Show.
yeah, so I'm not going to make any comment about that because I have no idea as to the validity of what he is saying.
Well, this movie was just, it was very well made on the small budget. It was very well crafted. It had really good transitions, the editing, and it had a really good atmosphere. I mean, if it had a good story, see, it didn't have any story, and the stuff that was there was trash. But if it had a good story that was like a good horror story, and it was really good and compelling, then it would have been a really good movie. And it still is a really good movie, just in a different kind of way. It's hilarious joke. It's one big joke because you watch it and you're like, I mean, some of the, I mean, this main guy, some of the decisions he makes are awful. I mean, he's complaining that he's hungry, and this little girl gives him some chicken.
Some homemade fried chicken.
Yeah, and he takes a nibble of it and then puts it down and doesn't eat any more of it. And it's like, what the hell? Like, he just abandons the chicken. They even zoom in and they show a close-up of the chicken that's sitting there all abandoned and not eaten.
I know.
Nobody can eat it now. You could get the virus.
Well, I don't know what that is, but what virus that would be, because this was how many years ago was this made?
You could get the zombie virus. You could be in Night of the Living Dead. In fact, that would have been a really cool ending if all of a sudden... Well, I'm not going to try to rewrite this movie because it should have been rewritten completely to do that. But do you want to talk about the funniest part, Safi?
I don't know what that would be. It wasn't funny to me, so I think Marco should talk about it because it was very funny to him.
There was this part where all of a sudden the carnival is empty, and the guy's just standing around like, ah! and then these motorcyclers, bikers, they come. And they're roaring in, and George Romero has a big fear of bikers, which we saw in Dawn of the Dead too. He was scared of bikers in that movie. He's got a biker phobia, and in fact, I know a lot of bikers are really evil people, and basically like a mafia type of organization, but. Like the Hells Angels type of thing. But it's so exaggerated. And, you have, like, on the Andy Griffith show, remember Barney would complain, if people come in on motorcycles and they're going to destroy the town and kill everyone and steal things, that's like an old people thing to like, oh no, there's people who ride motorcycles and they have a biker gang. Oh, no. That's like a thing all to itself. I mean, he should have made a movie about the struggles of bikers. But these bikers come and they beat up this old guy. And did we ever get a name for the old guy? No, so he deserves to be called Old Guy. And they beat him up. And the funniest part is that they rob him. They don't steal his cash, they steal his carnival tickets.
Yeah, Yeah.
They don't even steal his pocket watch because that's got to be used in another sequence that happens after that. So it's like this very convenient thing where they just steal his carnival tickets and then they beat him up, and then oh yeah, he's got to go get a bandage, and he's got to go get a doctor to see him, and they'll only give him a bandage. And there's just so many hilarious parts in this movie. It was a really fun movie to watch, to just laugh at this obnoxious, this stupid, in-your-face lecture about how old people have problems. Like, oh, did you know that old people are sad?
Well, I don't know. I just, I didn't care for it. I just don't know the purpose of it. To make people, older people aware that they're going to have problems like this, and what to do, what? To ignore them, to face them, to work through them, to find alternate ways to get around them. I mean, I have no idea what the purpose of the movie was.
There's no solution either. There's no solution to any of the problems.
No, there's not. And it's like, it's almost, to me, there's too many stereotypes. You know, you talk about, people talk about stereotypes in other movies, and, you know, they're like, compared to this movie, they're far and few between. I mean, it was like one stereotype after another in terms of looks, behavior, assumptions, about what people do or not do in a certain situation, and it's just ridiculous. So anyway, I wasn't too happy about wasting my time. Well, I'm not going to say it's a total waste of time. Well, it wasn't fun to me because I thought it made and not old people. This guy was stupid. He just made stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, and he didn't even take any of the groceries with him.
Yeah.
He bought 4 or 5 groceries.
He took the crackers and the peanut butter.
Yeah, he took crackers and peanut butter.
He bought like
he has
4
no
bags.
Plastic silverware. So what he does is get the crackers, you know, to have a snack. Because, well, this back then, so how many snack crackers did they have? I don't know. I don't remember.
It was a full pack that he had.
But, I mean, no, I'm talking about sandwich crackers that you can get, Ritz or Town. I don't know what they're called, the company. But, you know, you can get cream cheese with chives, and you get peanut butter.
I bet they had.
I don't know if they had all that back then.
Maybe they had. Maybe they had. I think they probably had the peanut butter.
Yeah, well, that's.
And
yeah.
they had like a pack of 4 or something. But
Yeah.
not a pack of 6.
And he has like
No, he has
saltine crackers.
And he's eating them.
They didn't have Ritz back then, I don't think. I don't know.
He sees a bunch of little kids. And he's like, "Come here, little kids, come here."
Yeah, you want to have crackers and peanut butter? I'm
Yeah.
like, what little kids are going to come over to some guy with crackers and peanut butter? I mean, really?
And then there's this guy, and he's like, "What are you, some kind of degenerate?"
And so the old guy gets up, he's scared, and he starts running away. But he was sitting there on the park bench having crackers and peanut butter, and then he's asking these kids to come on over and have some, and if they want to have some, to come on over and join him. He has no knife, nothing. I mean, you know, if, let's say you were doing that, you're a teacher, or you had like a summer playground, and you were, you know, there's people who are deathly allergic to peanut butter too. And so you spread peanut butter on the crackers and you hand them out. Well, just think of the germs. And we just went through, we're still going through the tail end of it, a pandemic. And you would have all that stuff prepackaged. And anyway, it's just,
it was
just ridiculous.
It was just really enjoyable, though. It really felt like I don't know, it just, when you watch it, it's like no matter how bad it is, it was made back then in the 70s.
Oh.
And because it was made back then in the 70s, it's automatically better than everything that comes out nowadays. And so I would actually say that this is the best movie of the year.
Well, it's vintage.
Because it's just, you know, you can't, it's the comparison is really pathetic, because the movies that come out this year, even the good ones, like the Mads Mikkelsen movie. You know, when you put that crappy movie next to this, it's like putting Ritz crackers next to like a grilled cheese sandwich, or like Ritz crackers next to Red Lobster. Like, it's really like a big difference in quality and creativity. So, what would you rate this joke movie, Safi?
Oh. Well, today he talks about he didn't order the beans with the hot dog so he could have like a chili dog. I ordered and this is really for kids on the kids menu. I really don't eat a lot, so I'm probably going to start ordering more if there's a variety stuff on a kids menu, but they have grilled cheese. You can't order grilled cheese. I mean, it's on the kids menu. That's it. So I ordered it. It was kind of half, it was toasted a little bit, and and they didn't even cut it. So I should say that, we're talking about older people and, having to cut things and they can't do it or something. And I don't think they, but they, in terms of like the scene with the knife, he didn't even get any plastic silverware. And to like spread the peanut butter on the crackers, he just stuck the crackers into the peanut butter. And so, but if you're hungry, that's good enough, but still, this sandwich wasn't very toasted. It was kind of partially toasted. So, and that's all I had, and I had a small soda. And
So you're just gonna.
It wasn't very fulfilling, and it was very limited. So the movie is limited in that it was very short, and there was no story, and I'm just not sure what the purpose of it is, and I'm not sure of the purpose of this toasted cheese sandwich because it really wasn't. And it'll probably be the last time I ever ordered a grilled cheese burger. They don't know.
You said that last time, Safi.
I know, and I'm like, they don't know what grilled cheese is. And they use I think it's Texas toast. And that's even worse because if it's not made right, it's Texas toast. It's like twice as bad or not as adequate it's twice as inadequate as a regular untoasted toasted cheese sandwich. So I'll give it this undercooked toasted cheese sandwich. Okay?
Well, I give it. It's tough to rate this movie because it's not an actual movie.
No,
it's
not.
It's a joke.
It's really fair, really.
It's a joke. You old people are stupid, weakling pieces of shit. I'm just kidding. But that's like what this movie was. It was like just like it was a disaster. It was really, it was fun though. It was very fun. And I think that the rating should be a fun food. Like a fun, crappy, really cheap food. And so I would say that you rate this movie something you put in the microwave. I would say that this movie is a Hot Pocket. Because it's very small and it's simple and it's cheap and it's crappy and yet it's still fun to eat sometime. I don't even eat them anymore, but I used to eat them a lot. And sometimes I would just eat them for a meal, unfortunately. And so, and that's like what this movie was. It was a very incomplete thing. It was, but look, here's the good part. His last movie used to be Survival of the Dead, which is probably one of the worst horror movies ever made. It was a horrendous pile of crap. But now, this movie is actually on top of that movie. So I would call this movie his last movie because it came out last. And so I think that that's actually a good thing because now we can pretend that this was his last movie and go, oh, it was pretty good. Because it was pretty good. I mean, if it had a good story, then it would have been really good. So, I mean, that was the only flaw was the story. The script, the story was trash. Don't you agree, Safi?
Yeah, I was just thinking last night I watched The Woman in the Window or The
Oh,
Lady in the Window.
Safi.
And that had, stars in it. And it's in color. And it's, they have sets, really nice sets.
No, not real. Not compared to this movie. Having like a vintage theme park with
Well, yeah.
cool, yeah.
And that movie was not good.
Yeah.
And this movie, this older one, had more promise and more reality, or
Yeah.
I don't know, believability, or maybe, I don't know, it just had more substance.
Yeah.
Even if some of it was exaggerated, it's still, and they didn't have high price actors. They said this too at the beginning of the movie, that there were a lot of volunteers from the community of people who were in nursing homes and retirement areas, and they were volunteers who just volunteered to be in the movie. And so here you have a movie made today, and with high price actors, got a lot of money. And then you have this other movie where the people were volunteers for the most part. So it's just interesting.
I told you, there's quality difference.
Yeah. So we should be wrapping it up now. But anything else, Marco? Do you want to say So what'd you decide to rate it?
I said Hot Pocket.
Oh, a hot pocket. Well, you was talking about
God,
something fun and.
Safi.
I thought you said something fun and sweet.
No, just something fun, cheap.
Oh, cheap.
And Hot Pockets, they're fun. They're like little pizzas in a pocket, and they're hot pockets, and they put them in the stupid cardboard.
Yeah, I've never liked those. But anyway.
Well, one last thing is that they really contradicted themselves, because they said like old people are like the biggest victims in the world, and but then they say that all the old people that worked on the movie had lots of fun.
They had fun
And
because it was something different.
It was like the best thing that they had to do in the past couple of years, and so that's a huge contradiction, because if our society was so evil and so hateful towards old people, then how could we dare allow them to be in a movie and have fun like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for now. And
What should people do?
I hope you people like, comment, or subscribe. How about subscribe? Even if you don't like it, say what you didn't like about it. Or let's say if you see the movie, if you decide to see it, if you decide to subscribe, you can subscribe to Shudder and then say you're not interested in after so many days. Whatever you want to do.
Just do the free trial. Do not waste your money on this app where they have categories like queer horror.
Whatever you want to do, it's your decision.
No, but we have to recommend something.
Well,
the
only way we could see this movie was recommend the streaming site.
To get a free trial and then say F you and not do it anymore.
Well, I don't know about that, but to each his own. But anyway, we really appreciate our subscribers, and we'll see you in the next review.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.